It's every automotive enthusiast's secret dream. A fast car, an open road, and no speed limits. Welcome to the Motorola Cup, North America's most exciting street stock racing series, where we've got lots of fast cars, a wide open road, and absolutely no speed limits. From Mosport Park in Ontario, Canada, it's round 4 of the Motorola Cup. Brought to you by Motorola, web without wires. By Deringer, international freight forwarders, customs brokers, warehousing and distribution, your partner for complete international logistics solutions. And by Sunoco Ethanol Enhanced Ultra 94, the gasoline that powers the Motorola Cup. I'm Jim Martin, and welcome to round 4 of the Motorola Cup. As you can see, the cars are on the track for the pace lap. Working with me again today, Terry Earwood, a former street stock racing champion and chief instructor at the Skip Barber Racing School. Terry, how does the championship shape up after the first 3 races?
Lots of different cars, lots of different racers. We have the Ford Mustang team leading Grand Sports, the Wilkins Maxwell Mustang over Pontiac Firebird of Powell and Goad. In the sports class, the BMW Z3 of Andy Lawley leads John Barassa and Lance Stewart in an Acura, followed closely by a BMW 320i of Howie Liebengood. When we go to the touring class, the Nonamaker brothers Will and Wayne in the Mazda 626 barely lead Kuno Whitmer in their Honda Prelude, while Peter Swartzot and Bob Endicott are third in an Acura. In the compact class, Bill Fenton and Bob Beatty in the Honda Del Sol are leading a pair of Hyundai Tiburons and a Mazda Miata. Lots of different cars, lots of different classes.
As far as the race, which is on tap here at Mosport, we've got 3 hours worth of racing coming up. 4 different classes, as usual, with the Motorola Cup. 2 different drivers per car, and, of course, with a 3-hour race, these thirsty Grand Sport cars are going to be in the pits at least twice. Most of the cars in compact are probably touring, can probably stretch the distance out with only 1 stop. Nonetheless, it's going to be a great contest, and we've already seen lots of action out on the racetrack as far as qualifying goes, too. Our Speed Stick fastest qualifiers on the pole in the Zero Multimatic Motorsport Ford Mustang, Scott Maxwell and Greg Wilkins. The Zero car starts out front. In the sport class, Howie Liebengood and Ray Corman in the LP Racing BMW 328 have the pole in that class. Touring, Bob Endicott and Peter Swartzot in the Acura Integra, the 71 car, qualified on the pole. And in compact, the WTF Engineering Oldsmobile Achieva, the 48 car of Ed Magner and Frank Del Vecchio will have the pole in compact today. Another huge field. No less than 44 cars will take the green flag. A dozen different makes headed for the start-finish line. Out of turn number 10 in front of the tower. There's the green, and we're underway. Right off the top, Greg Wilkins, the Zero car, to the inside of the 16 Mazda. Benoit Teach comes up to challenge. Side by side, the short shoot between 1 and 2. The silver Mazda RX-7 takes over first spot. We ride along with Greg Wilkins as we get a real close look at the back bumper of that Mazda. Quick car right off the top.
The Mazda takes the point. He definitely is the faster car at the start here. A little bit wide of his apex. Oh, he's way wide of his apex. The car is loose as the Mustang tries to tuck back inside.
Manages to hang on, though. The race leader still that silver Mazda RX-7. Benoit Teach, Greg Wilkins, Devin Powell, and David Lacey now running in 4th spot. The slowest piece of the racetrack, corner number 5 down in the south end, as we'll find out right here just who has the horsepower today coming up this long straightaway, which is also uphill.
You know, the Mustangs run real good here at Mosport, especially on the early goings when the motors are nice and cool. Here goes a pop for 3rd place.
David Lacey drives around the outside of Devin Powell in that 11 car up into turn number 8 as we get a real close look at the hard concentrating Devin Powell through that corner.
You know, the Firebirds guys, they sort of lay there. They stay in the hunt all day long, but they don't lead early on.
It seems as though they've learned a lot of lessons over the last couple of years. The Multimatic Motorsport team, we ride along with Greg Wilkins as we take a look at the crowd down at turn number 5. Coming around for the 2nd circuit, Greg Wilkins, as you said, kind of laying back just a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're laying back a little bit, but watch this Mazda. He's starting to get a little wide of his apex. I think he's trying to drive 2 cars at once. He's in his mirrors a little bit. He's got a lot of machinery behind him.
Benoit Teets is elected to receive, and he's put the defense out on the field. He's driving down the middle of the racetrack, coming into corner number 8 on the second lap. It's a little early for that kind of defensive stuff, isn't it?
Second lap of the race, I can't believe he's trying to make that car that wide, because what's going to happen, he's going to lose his concentration and overuse his car too early on. He needs to turn his mirrors away from that car and just put his foot down on the floor, not worry about what's behind. What's behind me doesn't concern me.
Hey, he's got lots of company back there. Both of the Coca-Cola Ford Mustangs running second and third hot on his heels. He's got a lot to worry about, but it really shouldn't be what he's concentrated on right now.
No, you know, he feels the heat. This old racetrack it's such a fast track. You have to be so precise with where you put the car. You can really hurt a car here by dropping a wheel off on the outside edge. You have to be more perfect than this.
Perfect is what it's all about as we watch him slide wide in corner number 5 and give away the lead. Greg Wilkins steals away first spot, as it really looked as though Benoit Teets was driving with at least one eye in the mirror, and it cost him at turn number 5.
I think he's just learned you can't drive with one car at a time. Here coming into turn 5, he locks the rears up when he snaps off the brake, believe it or not. He over-rotates the car with trailing brake. The Mustang tucks inside him. A good job of catching the car, but he's lost one. Going to lose probably 2 spots here by looking in those rearview mirrors.
Nice piece of car control. That could have been a lot worse. Nonetheless, it's cost him 1 spot, and here comes David Lacey. He's going to steal away another. Off that straightaway again, like you said earlier on, the Mustangs have a lot of horsepower, and they're showing it off down the straightaway.
Yeah, Mosport really relies on horsepower on the first half of the racetrack. This back half, long, big section. As big V8s work hard back here.
Lacey on the outside of corner number 8, one of the fastest sweepers to the right. Steals away the position and makes it look pretty easy. And now Benoit Teets has a mirror full of the 32 Firebird, which is going to tuck inside in turn number 10. Not a place where you see a lot of passing happen.
No, for once he doesn't protect his position, so with a Firebird, Heinrich just pops right in there. Going to drag race him down to turn 1.
John Heinrich passing where he probably didn't expect him to, and that's why he wasn't driving down the middle of the road like he's been on every other corner of the racetrack so far. Heinrich now up to 3rd spot, chasing those 2 red Firebirds, and now it looks as though there's somebody else trying to make his way through. The BMW is going to move into the top 4 as well.
Yeah, Jeff McMillan trying to tuck that BMW in there. Notice how this car handles through this high speed. This is a 4th gear, 100-mile-an-hour corner here, and he just slides right around the RX-7.
Yeah, the RX-7 gave him lots of room to make that pass happen. However, he gave lots of room to a car behind him. One of the Mustangs is in trouble right off the bat. It's the 7 car.
We have a smoker. It looks like he's blowed her up.
David Lacey, the number 7 Ford Mustang, right off the top, goes up in smoke in turn number 3. Let's take a look at the STP leaderboard out front. Greg Wilkins in the 0 Ford Mustang leads John Heinrich in the 32 Firebird and Scott Pfeffer in the 54 BMW and Grand Sport.
In the sports category, Ray Corman leads in the BMW over Tom Stewart and John Barassa.
In the touring class, the Nonamaker Brothers Mazda 626 leads Peter Schwartzott and Scott Hartman in the Audi, and in compact, Ed Magner and the Olds Achieva. We'll be back with more action from Mosport in just a moment. Welcome back to round number 4 of the Motorola Cup as we ride on board with our race leader, Greg Wilkins, in the 0 Ford Mustang. A great battle going on in sport class a little bit further back. First, second, and third all running nose to tail on the racetrack like they've done all year long. Ray Corman leads right now in the 14 BMW 328. Tom Stewart behind him in the 70 BMW Z3 Coupe. And the 10 car is John Barassa on the Acura Integral, riding along board right now with John.
This has been a great fight all year. These cars are 3 totally different cars, even though the BMWs up front are rear drive. The Acura is a front drive car. So they both have their strengths and their weaknesses. The Z3 car, probably the best handling car out there. They put some weight on this car because it does handle so well. It doesn't have quite the horsepower that the bigger sedan does. So even though they're both BMWs, they're pretty far apart. The Acura, obviously, big difference, as Barassa sits right back there. He's going to get a little bit better gas mileage. The car doesn't have quite the horsepower on the straightaways. Oh, we have some damage here.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get good gas mileage at all with a piece of the bodywork hanging out in the wind like that. Jeff McMillan's 22 BMW M3 has a flat tire, among other things. He was running 5th overall at one point.
I don't think there's a tire there.
Yeah, there was one at one point, but somewhere he's managed to lose it. We got another good battle going on, too. Now, this one is back in the touring class out front. The Nonamaker Mazda 626 leading the Scott Hartman Audi, and right behind them, the 71 Acura of Peter Schwartzott. Riding on board with Scott Hartman through turn number 5, looking to the inside. Nonamaker closes the door on him.
Slams the door. These guys fight for every piece of real estate they can get for every race. It's been like this all season long. We have an inside shot from Peter Schwartzott as he chases the Audi and the Mazda up this long straightaway. Oh, an inside from Peter as he's looking down, maybe looking for another gear, wishing he had a 6-speed. He's trying to hang on to the draft of that Audi so they can run both those cars up to the Mazda down this long straightaway.
Again, the sport class cars 1, 2, and 3 going through the frame. The touring cars right in behind them. The same thing, the 97 car. Joe Kent's Pontiac Firebird has stopped out on the racetrack. That's just at the exit of turn number 5, and that's not a real great place to stop the car. Let's see how this happened.
It looks like the car's just slowing down on its own. I don't see any smoke or anything. He's pulling the car over. He's getting real slow. He's waving the guys by now, so definitely something's wrong. He's lost some kind of powertrain in this car, and he's going to slowly pull over and find a shady spot.
He's looking for a place where the marshals are standing by just in case there's something more seriously wrong with the car. Parks it over beside the track. Not necessarily the safest, though, and brings out the safety car. We'll be back with more action in just a moment. We're under full course caution at Mosport. We're at Mosport International Raceway for round number 4 of the Motorola Cup. We're still under full course caution as they've got a couple of cars they want to get off the racetrack. The lights are now off on the pace car. We're all set for a restart. Out front, it's going to be Greg Wilkins leading the field around looking for the green flag as they head toward the start-finish line one more time. Everybody's got the tires up to speed. We're green again. Greg Wilkins with a great jump off the start.
More importantly, he has a bunch of lap cars between him and John Heinrici, and there's nothing like that. To be out there in the lead and clear traffic, there's nobody in your way, and now John's got to work his way around the smaller stuff. Looks like they're giving him room here on this off-camera left-hand turn. Oh, giving him a whole lot of room. This Honda goes wide. He's up on 2 wheels. He's all but going to turn this car over. It was a miracle he didn't turn this car over. That's the case of trying to be too nice of a guy. He got out in the marbles trying to let John and the guys by. Here in the replay, we'll see him out in the slick part. It's off camber out there. Now, in the front drive car, he could keep a little throttle down and keep tugging this car, but he comes off the gas entirely, and the car's trying to dig in. It pops both right tires off the rim. He almost digs it in. Just a miracle he didn't turn this car over.
Andy Linder gets a little bit lucky over in turn number 2. In the meantime, he spread a whole bunch of dirt over there, and for the look of things, maybe rearranged the rear suspension alignment on the back end of his Acura. Though at the same time, he's going to be able to bring the car around with 2 flat right-hand side tires, though. Back in the sport class, Ray Corman, the 14 BMW, opening up a bit of a gap on his own over that great battle in behind him. He's got some other BMW cars, that C3 as well. A little bit further back now, the Acura has moved into second spot too.
Greg Wilkins stretching his lead in the 0 Mustang over the John Heinrici Firebird. John trying to get that BMW of Steve Pfeiffer to push him up this straightaway. With the two of them working together, they might could hang on to that Mustang. Now coming back for 4th place, we see another Firebird entirely. That's one of these Sunoco cars over in Zippo Mustang.
Greg Conway in the 31 car leads Terry Borchler's 17 Zippo car right now. Got a new leader as far as that touring class coming up the back straightaway.
The touring class actually is running up on this compact battle. The Miata slowing down. Oh, and they all get together in the touring class are 1, 2, 3 leaders. And the Mazda, the 626, gets up on 2 wheels when he hits the apex curve. Look like Joey Chitwood thrill show car as he tries to leave turn 6. Pounds. Lucky he didn't get into the tire wall here. Maybe we can get a replay on this. Oh, a head-on shot. Look at this, on 2 wheels.
Hey, does a great job of keeping it the shiny side up there. That was real lucky for just a minute. It could have gone either way, I think.
He'll be sitting taller in the saddle for a lap or 2.
Boy, there is no doubt about that. Back to the sport class battle. Still a 14 BMW leading the number 10. John Borassa running in second spot underneath the bridge, headed down to turn number 5. This has turned into a real classic match between the front-wheel drive Acura and the rear-drive BMW out front.
Yeah, you can sort of see where one car is faster than the other, and they close up on it in the braking zone because the Acura does slow down a little bit better, putting the power down this long straightaway. That 6-cylinder really stretches its muscles.
The race leader still Greg Wilkins through turn number 2, the big off-camber corner, using all of the racetrack and then some. One of the better battles out on the track, though, is the battle for second. John Heinrici just in front of Steve Pfeiffer. The 54 BMW giving John Heinrici all he's worth.
Yeah, again, the BMW has a little bit better brakes. It's a little bit lighter car, and therefore he can really aggravate John in the corners. Once you get to the straightaway, that V8 just really starts flexing. Now, down this long, long straightaway into turn 5. This is a tough area here to get the car shut down. You go to 3rd gear, turn it in. You go to 2nd gear for the second part of this. It's real tough on the drivers. A second tap of the brake to turn it in. Now, that big V8 has got a long straightaway to pull. And when it comes to long straightaways, I'd much rather have the horsepower. I'd rather win on the straightaway than try to fight you in a corner.
There's a long way to go. The race leader still the 0 car, followed by the 32 Firebird and the 54 BMW. We'll be back with more in a moment. Welcome back to the Motorola Cup from Mosport. The 41, our early leader in the touring class, is going behind the wall. Apparently, they got some repairs they think they can make and still get the car back out on the racetrack.
Well, you know, that car had that huge ride. Matter of fact, here's a replay of it showing 2 wheels here. This had to hurt the car somehow. I mean, it's a big ride. The Chitwood cars, they're all tied together, and they're ready to do this. I don't think the Mazdas are. Okay, the guys are working under the back of the car. It looks like they've done something major, some major repairs. We see the gas tank laying on the side of the ground. How many times you bring a spare gas tank to a racetrack, do you reckon? Boy, it was a big ride to beat the gas tank up.
Hey, this is a well-prepared team, and it's really good to see that they're going to try and get this car back in. Our second-place car in Touring is in trouble, too. The number 2 Audi's had a big miscue out in the racetrack of some sort.
This is down between the end of turn 3 and 4. He gets the car turned around. I can't believe he did that on his own, and he bops the inside apex wall.
Let's take another look at this. We'll ride on with Peter Schwartzhut. He just gets the car wide, brings it all the way across the track, trying to save it, and runs into the wall.
Yeah, he gets the rear wheels up in the dirt, and being an all-drive car, he spins the rear tires. Here we're back with our leaders on the front straightaway.
Grand Sport leader Greg Wilkins, second John Heinrichsey, the 32 Firebird, and hot on heels, Scott Pfeiffer, the number 54 BMW. A great battle for second place through turn number 1. The Firebird a little quicker in a straight line. The BMW M3 seems to have the handling and the brakes, all of which is important here, so he'll stretch it out a little bit on the straightaways and in the corners like number 2 here. The BMW closes it right up. What a tremendous dice.
He's right there on his back bumper, and that's what he needs to do is hound this Firebird, make the Firebird use his brakes up, use his tires up. You can really overheat the tires in that big old heavy car. Even though the V8 works good on the straightaways, you still got to get the car through the corners. They get around one of the compact cars cleanly here as we go down this left-hand high-speed 4th gear corner. This is where the BMW, notice how it sticks in. Oh, the BMW tucks inside him. I can't believe John goes wide, and the BMW's going to be on the outside, but now the BMW is on the outside, a wrong line. Oh, they contact. Great job, both guys not crashing those cars.
And we've had some other contact. The 32 Firebird slides off the track in turn number 5. The marshal wants him to stop over there, pull it off into a safe place, but he keeps on rolling. He's going to try to save it. Greg Wilkins taking advantage of all this. The 0 Coca-Cola Ford Mustang, our Grand Sport leader, as everybody behind them has had some kind of trouble today.
Well, the guys are fighting each other. When you talk about being smooth on the racetrack, you also have to be precise. You can't make mistakes. You can't drop wheels off on the side of the road, and you can't cut a tire down on somebody else's fender.
Hey, so far today, the 0 Ford Mustang is one of the few people that have had no problems. Another car doing a great job. In compact class, the 48 of Ed Magner. That Oldsmobile Achiever with tons of racing miles on it just keeps on rolling.
This old car used to race when I raced, had 10,000 racing miles on it and about 2,000 behind a tow truck, but still, it's been out there forever.
Ed Magner maintains that automobile, and every race weekend, no matter how hard it's been beat on the weekend before, Ed Magner turns this car out, and in spite of all those miles, it not only runs, but it runs fast. A great battle out here for 11th place. 44 cars started the race, and they're battling just as hard for 11th as they are out front. The 26 Firebird of David Shep and the 39 of Bob Kahn having a great battle into turn number 3.
Having a huge battle. No matter where you are in the Motorola Cup, you're having a good time, and you're never lonesome out there with 44, 45 cars on the racetrack. Firebird goes a little wide here, drops the left rear off, goes to full throttle. He's going to back it offside the racetrack here.
Stop.
Oh, boom. A little brakes have gone a long way a little before that.
Welcome back to Mosport for round number 4 of the Motorola Cup. While we were away, all sorts of things have begun to happen, including our race leader stopping in along pit lane. It's that time once again as the Trizicon Coca-Cola Mustang stops, and we've had a driver change too. Scott Maxwell will get into the 0 car. As the field is all bunched up on the restart, it'll be the 17 Ford Mustang of Terry Borchler now in the lead. The 30 Sunoco Firebird, Bill Berggren, runs in second spot now. Now those cars have yet to come in along pit lane though.
Yeah, with 2 pit stops, you have to sort of time when you think you want a driver change and a full gas tank.
Bill Berggren running in second spot. Now there's a great story. The Team Sweden 30 car, himself and Hasse Puls, the first year, 1999 in the Motorola Cup. They started out with a white Firebird back in Sebring at the beginning of this year, and they had the absolute worst start to a race season as he takes over the lead going into turn number 4. Bill Berggren is now our race leader.
Boy, these guys have come a long way from an inauspicious start at Sebring, Florida. Let's take a look back in Sebring. You'll see up in the upper part of your screen, they had a huge, I'm talking huge fire. Like we said back then, put a new meaning to Firebird. This car burnt slap to the ground, had a fuel leak back there at the back on a full tank of gas, and the big torch flames. The corner workers ate for weeks off this thing with the marshmallows. It was a terrible deal. But the guys are back. They rebuilt a brand new car.
And they've done a great job, and as it stands right now, they've come from worst to first in 1999, leading around here at Mosport just in front of the 17 Ford Mustang. We're right on board now with Scott Maxwell behind the wheel of the 0 car, which has led most of the race, but did come in for that pit stop. Lots of action in front of him through 5 as the 54 and 35 Firebird get together.
Well, you got to be a little patient here because these guys have not stopped, and he's trying to work his way back through traffic, and those guys come together. So you wait this long straightaway. Guys try to pass in turn 5 and turn 6. Now we're on board.
Scott Maxwell, the 0 Ford Mustang, up that straightaway, picking up one car after another, working his way back up toward the front. We'll go around one of the prettier cars in the Motorola Cup. That number 28, Acura NSX. And it looks as though the Mustang certainly got a horsepower advantage coming to the crest of the hill.
NSX is a beautiful race car, but just doesn't have the poop on the straightaways that the V8s do.
Another spot as Scott Maxwell is working his way back toward the front. The race leader fell down to 8th spot, has picked up 2 places in the last lap. That Ford Mustang, definitely one of the quicker cars out in the circuit.
Yeah, he has fresh tires, fresh driver, and right now a clean racetrack.
One of the biggest advantages to stopping under that yellow flag as the field is spread out a little bit. The 16 car is off the track. Benoit Tiege and Peter Cohen. It looks as though their race may be run.
Unfortunately, they led earlier on, but now their day's done. And now back what we've seen all year long, these 2 cars racing hard for sports class, John Barraza and Andy Lally. We have the Acura up front and the BMW. You're going to see these guys, you might as well tie a chain to them.
Hey, there's a big elastic band. It seems to stretch every now and then, but not very much. Andy Lally in the 70 car trying to chase down the number 10 Acura Integra just in front of him. The 2 different classes of Acura side by side. The 71 touring class car will go a lap down to the class leading Lance Stewart number 10 car right now.
Pretty boy Lance Stewart does a beautiful job in this car. Long story behind that. He's driven everything. He was a skip barber instructor for a while, and he can keep a car under him.
Andy Lally trying to give chase now, has to get around the 71 Acura as well. As we catch up to the race leader, right now that 70 Ford Mustang has himself about a half straightaway length lead. The 70 car of Terry Borchler leading the red Ford Mustang, which is slowly but surely working its way through the crowd.
Yeah, the guys are hooked up with Motorola radio, so they know, where the other guys are, if they have to stop or not. So a lot of times you're just racing yourself. You're not really looking out there to see where, who you're chasing down.
Scott Maxwell in the Coca-Cola Ford Mustang. Let's take a look at a replay as he moves into 2nd spot, getting by the number 30 Sunoco Firebird up at the crest of the hill. Just a little more steam at the top of that straightaway. Now, Scott Maxwell's driving with the headlights on. Terry, that's a little unusual.
Actually, Peter Gregg's the first guy I ever saw do this. When you're running slower traffic, turn those headlights on. It does show up in the rearview mirrors, and the guys think, hey, this guy must be fast. He's got his lights on. They do try to pull over. They do try to give you some headway, and so you can work traffic a lot easier for both of you.
Another red car with a problem, though. The 61 Honda Civic of Kevin Bonneau with some front bodywork damage.
Here's a replay of what happened down in turn 5. Once again, all we need is this camera here. The Firebird gets inside him, turns him around. He tries to gather it up, but the rear just comes too far. Does a good job of getting on the brakes. The second car, actually, BD helps take his bumper off, however. He's trying to get it restarted.
Going to get back into the hunt from the look of things. The 0 Ford Mustang moving up in the leader. Right now, the difference from 1st to 2nd is down to 18 seconds.
That's not a lot of time in these races. With pit stops, with traffic, with full course yellows, that doesn't mean anything.
So, as the 0 car is hunting down the number 17 Ford Mustang for the lead, we'll be back with more action from Mosport in a minute. Here's our race-leading 17 Ford Mustang now without a left turn signal. Here's what happened a few minutes ago, working his way through traffic.
Once again, action down in turn 5 as he overshoots a braking zone a little bit, hits a curb, and then hits the 14 BMW, our leader in sports, and that's where he loses that turn signal. The Zippo cars have the 5.0-liter conventional V8 engine, whereas the Coca-Cola cars, the red Mustangs, have the new SVT 4.6-liter overhead cam engine. The 5-liter that we commonly know here has a lot more torque, a lot more pulling power coming off the corners, but the new SVT engine is a lot higher revving.
Terry Borchler driving in the wheels off that 17 car, trying to maintain the advantage as best he can. Let's see how far back the 2nd place car is. Mazda comes around turn 10. And here comes the 0. The Coca-Cola Trizycon Ford Mustang of Scott Maxwell, the 2nd place car, now has the gap down to 13 seconds. 1st to 2nd has shrunk by about 5 seconds over the last couple of laps.
Yeah, Borchler with a lot older tires on that car. The red car's a lot fresher here. He's going to run him down some.
Certainly isn't Scott Maxwell's no slouch around this racetrack either. This is Scott's home track. The Zippo car is in the pits. Our race leader, the 17 Ford Mustang, stops in along pit lane. Jeff Lapsovich jumps over the wall. He'll be getting into this car as they put on a set of tires and a tank of fuel in.
Yeah, this usually stop takes about 60 seconds. Here comes the Wilkins car. They're going to try to make hay while the sun shines.
Scott Maxwell into turn number 1 takes over the lead while the 17 car sits stationary along this straightaway, and we're going to find out just exactly how big this gap is. The far end of the circuit now, it's a half circuit length advantage, and they're still stopped in along pit lane. Scott Maxwell up the straightaway now.
Yeah, this should not take this long. Usually about 42 seconds to 48 seconds, so maybe even 60 seconds. This is taking a lot longer than this. I hope he doesn't lose a lap.
The 17 car rolling down pit lane, a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit now gets it up to race speed again as a 0 car comes by and puts him a full lap down. It cost him an entire lap and then some. A costly stop for the 17 Zippo Ford Mustang. The race leader, the red car, now 1 lap down, the 17 Mustang immediately behind him.
Yeah, a lot of times you see a race lost in the pits. Boy, I sure hope it doesn't happen here.
It looks as though Scott Maxwell and his team have done a great job, though, as it stands right now. Scott's got a great advantage over everybody else. The 31 Hasse Poles Sunoco Firebird is now running in second spot. The gap back to third, that number 54 BMW of Mike Fitzgerald now behind the wheel is chasing down the 31 Firebird. So the race order, the 0 Ford Mustang, the 31 Sunoco Firebird, and the 54 BMW 1, 2, and 3. Very different automobiles out on the racetrack.
Very different cars. We've got the overhead cam Mustang up front. We've got the conventional V8 in the Firebird. And then, of course, you have a 6-cylinder in the BMW. So the cars, like they're faster in some places, slower in some places. Look at the Firebird, big V8 power going down that long straightaway. It just definitely pulls hard. Once you get to the corners, however, now the BMW can probably carry a little more G's through here. This is an exciting part of the racetrack. It's a hard right-hand flick and then a left-hand turn flick as you line up to come on the front straightaway. It's a lot of fun to run through this corner. The BMW does it better than anybody.
The BMW slow but steady all race long. They haven't led a lap of this contest, but they're sure not out of the hunt by any stretch. We got a car off the racetrack. The 91 Mike Speck has fallen off.
In the replay, we probably can see what happened as he comes into this corner behind it. Look, he locks the rear tires up instantly. That shows he got the wrong gear. He got a much lower gear than he anticipated. Lock the rear tires. A quick recovery. I'll give him credit for that. He's got it in first gear. He's trying to get out of there. That way the crew doesn't know he spun out.
Actually, if you want to go back and listen to that, he's up to second gear by the time he gets back on the racetrack.
Yeah, he's been stuck before. Here's our compact leader. That's Bob Beatty over the 43 Oldsmobile, the Achieva.
The 27 Honda Del Sol, they've run a nice steady race as well, although the car is not without any battle scars. It looks as though he's had a little altercation with the left front corner of that automobile.
Little guys get picked on a lot. This car handles real well. That's why it's a fun car to drive. It's very, very nimble. Doesn't have quite the power of its big brothers, but because it's a smaller, lighter weight car, it falls very well in this class.
Now back at the other end of the racetrack, the 0 Ford Mustang, Scott Maxwell with the headlights on, has put a little bit of distance between himself and everybody else from the look of things. As we watch him go through the corner here, picking his way through some of the compact cars, the headlights shining just to let him know that he's headed through. We get a chance as they come up the back straightaway to look at just how big the gap from first to second is right now.
As he comes down the long straightaway, Scott's looking in his rearview mirror, trying to pick up that yellow Firebird, trying to look for second place, see how much cushion he has. He's done a good job working slower traffic. He's in the rearview mirror, looking way back down the straightaway. Scott's feeling real good about this because he can't see yet. He finally sees the yellow Firebird. Wow, one whole long.
You know, Motorola's involvement in racing is a lot more than just a series sponsor. Every pit crew here is in constant wireless communication with the drivers, monitoring track conditions, car performance, that sort of thing. And after the race, Motorola's StarTAC wearable phone comes in handy to report the good news, too. And now, the StarTAC's been reintroduced as a powerful web-enabled e-messaging tool. Motorola, introducing the web without wires. Check it out at Motorola.com. Here comes our sport class leader, the number 10 Lance Stewart Acura Integra. Down the front straightaway. He's opened up a bit of a gap as a result of the pit stops as well over the number 14 Howie Liebengood BMW.
Yeah, the 70 of Andy Lally fell back some on those pit stops on the back ramp. He's still on the track somewhere. Howie Liebengood has been running these showroom stock cars for a long time. He's teamed up now with Ray Corman. Ray, of course, one of the premier BMW racers over the years. He beat us for the championship back in the old Rossi days years ago in a BMW. This car is hanging right there with Lance. Lance, though, is the king of getting in and out of the pits.
About 16 seconds a gap as they cross the start-finish line last time between the number 10 Acura and that number 14 BMW. Down through the big double apex, turn number 2 here at Mosport. Probably one of the scarier corners in all of motor racing.
It is in the daytime. We got to race here at night a couple times, and it is huge scary. Now, you can't see where you're going, but you can't fear what you can't see.
The overall leader once again, the Grand Sport Mustang, now trying to find his way around that compact class number 48 Oldsmobile Achieva through corner number 8. Again, looks to the inside in a 9. Gets the door shut on him again. One of the biggest problems with this brand of motor racing is a lot of the cars, no matter how fast they are in a straight line, are almost equal in the corners.
Well, that's just it. The faster guys have to know that. They do a good job of letting the small cars in the corner and then zap them on the straightaway. Right there, he had a little miscommunication with the Oldsmobile about whose corner was it. And now he's really tied up behind this 944. But the 944 can't go anywhere. It's a high-speed corner. There's only one fast line through that corner, and he can't vary his line. Earlier in the race, we saw the little Honda Acura get off on the side of the road and almost turn the car over because trying to be a nice guy. We have a pit stop for one of our touring cars.
The 43 class leader now back underway after a routine stop, and with that stop, drops down to second spot. New leader in the touring class, the Honda Prelude of Kuno Whitmer. The number 82 car is now the class leader.
These are great old cars. We won, actually our team won 3 national championships with the Honda Prelude. They just run day in and day out like a clock. I'm telling you, talk about miles on the Oldsmobile, you can put some miles on a Honda Prelude. The car's done a solid job all day. It gets good gas mileage. They're reliable as a watch.
And Kuno Whitmer behind the wheel, a youngster if ever there was one. 16 years old, says his aim in life is to be a Formula One driver. He's probably got a little work to do between now and then, but at 16, like, he couldn't drive in a bunch of states, could he?
I tell you, you can't race in a couple of states. That's remarkable to be out there doing this good a job at age 16. What would I give at age 16 to do this?
Exactly.
Whoops, he's rotated there a little bit. So he's feeling some of his youthful oats as he over-rotates the car. It's easy to do, but a little throttle back straightens it right out.
The Zero car now our race leader on the home stretch with less than 45 minutes to go. Scott Maxwell's just got to keep it in a straight line and maintain this same kind of pace, and I think the race is going to be his. He said looking for a piece of wood to knock on because the last thing I want to do is jinx him. The team's done a great job all day today. Greg Wilkins handed over a real nice car from the look of things, and Scott Maxwell has done a great job ever since. The 54 car in and out of the pits drops to 4th place out on the circuit. Now, earlier on, the number 17 Zippo Ford Mustang ran out front for a little piece before they had to come in for a fuel stop. Their teammate, the 47 car with Gary Smith aboard, now moves into 2nd place out on the racetrack. So the Zippo Ford Mustang squad having a pretty fair day today, and there's still a little bit of time left. The 47 Zippo car runs in 2nd. In 3rd spot, it's a Terry McDonald Firebird. Terry McDonald Cadieux and David Shep who are sharing that car. That one, the vehicle had a little altercation with the wall at the outside of turn number 3. There's a bunch of red racers tape on the back corner of the car, but it continues to run strongly. Terry, though, has yet to stop for fuel. 61 Honda Civic, an altercation with that same piece of concrete. Rich Holdener falls off the racetrack and has done some serious damage to the front corner of the 61 Honda.
Let's see if we can pick up what happened to Richard as he oh, a little Miata happened to Richard. They were trying to share the same piece of real estate, and the Honda Civic goes off in the dirt. He's got it locked up. Boom. Does a pancake on the right side of Darlington Stripe, if you will. The Miata goes on down the racetrack.
Yeah, and he does some damage in the suspension of the right front corner. It looks as though his day is done. The Zero car, our race leader, stops in along pit lane. Scott Maxwell comes in. This is a routine stop as they're going to change at least 2 of the tires on the left-hand side of that automobile and fill it up with fuel so that he can make it to the end.
Notice no driver change.
No, Scott Maxwell's going to go to the finish once the car is filled up with fuel and has another new set of tires on it. Terry McDonald Cadieux in the number 26 Pontiac Firebird inherits the lead. Terry's got quite a story. She's one of the world's better female drivers in the Motorola Cup. Like any form of motor racing, when you put on a helmet, male or female, everybody's equal behind the wheel of a race car.
She does a lot of car programs. She works with us at Skip Barber some. She does a PPG pace car girl and just does a super professional job in everything. The great part about a Motorola Cup is male or female, you're very competitive.
The Zero car out of pit lane, down turn number 2 in 2nd spot, though, with a full load of fuel and ready to go to the finish. The Motorola Cup from Mosport will continue in just a moment. We're back for the home stretch of the Motorola Cup round at Mosport. Our leader, the 26 Pontiac Firebird. 2nd, the 0 Ford Mustang. Jerry McDonald Cadieux behind the wheel of this Firebird is a little out of sync with everybody else out on the racetrack as far as their fuel stop strategy, Terry.
Yeah, she can't quite go to the end. What happened when they crashed this car earlier, when they backed it into the wall, they came in for an unscheduled pit stop, fixed the right rear fender, got it all taped up, got a full tank of gas then. So they're definitely off sync with the rest of the cars in Grand Sports. So they're due for a fuel stop now. The good news is, toward the end of this stop, they won't need a full tank. So if they don't do a driver change, they could do a quick stop and go and still not lose too much track position.
The team's done a great job in spite of the fact that they had that little altercation earlier on to get it out on the circuit and at one point lead this race, but now they're in long pit lane. The 26 car in for a routine fuel stop. They need a splash before the end.
Yeah, if she can hold us down to about 26 seconds, she can come out right with the leader.
They're going to have to be fast because here comes that race leader, Scott Maxwell, and the Coca-Cola Trizicon Mustang down the start-finish line. And a driver change as well for the 26 car. Terry's going to get out, and David Shep will take her place.
Oh, my, they've gone in for a 30,000-mile check. It's going to take a while.
It's going to be a bit of a stretch, and unfortunately, it's going to put him well down in the field. Scott Maxwell, though, out in front with a Ford Mustang, has himself a bit of a cushion. Once again, the 0 car is the race leader. The 31 Firebird runs in second place right now. And a little bit behind them, the number 47 car. So we've got a great duel out front. We've got a Mustang, a Firebird, and then another Mustang running first, second, and third. Inside the final half hour of the race, and we've got a great battle going on for second spot. The 31 Sunoco Firebird trying to hold off that 47 Ford Mustang for the position. Coming up the straightaway, the Mustang seems to be perhaps a little quicker in a straight line. A great battle. Classic machinery, the Firebird and Mustang, nose to tail.
Yeah, he's looking for an opening in the Zippo car. He knows that he can get around this Firebird. He's quicker on the straightaways. He's just looking for just get that nose in there somewhere. Leave him in the dust.
Now, one of the other interesting things, the 31 car has yet to stop for fuel, too, so the car might be a little bit lighter, but it's not as if the 47 Ford Mustang is having an easy time, but he's going to make him work for that position if he does let him get around.
But they're trying to block a little bit, and that's going to cost both of them time. Look, here comes the number 17 car.
Jeff Lapsovich in the number 17 Zippo Ford Mustang is slowly but surely creeping into the hunt as well. The 30 car, the Team Sweden Firebird, is going to be a factor before this one's done, too. The race leader, though, has himself nearly half a lap lead over the balance of the field as far as that Grand Sport category goes. Still the battle for second place continues. The 47 Zippo Ford Mustang. And that Firebird sliding all over the road. It looks as though the car's getting a little bit loose. He may have used up those tires. What do you think, Terry?
He's toward the end of his tire run. He needs left side tires real badly right now. We're going to try to get it in the pits. But while these guys are fighting, you can just see the nose of that white car coming in the corner of our picture, especially here in the braking zone. The 17 Mustang closing in. It's going to be a big battle to finish with the Mustangs.
Now, Gary Smith in the 47 car at this point in time, it looks as though the car in front of him is getting a little bit loose. Does he lay back just a little bit and wait for him to either stop or fall off the racetrack?
You would hope, but no, it's a guy thing and it's a V8. We're going to try to do everything we can every minute we're out there.
He's going to pressure him for all he's worth. And it looks as though it's paying off as the Firebird immediately in front of him is being pushed to the point where he's running out of tires and running out of all sorts of things. Fuel may be a factor before this one's done, too. A little bobble going into turn number 8 just a minute ago. The pressure seems to be paying off.
Pressure pays off. You know, he's out of tires for one thing. He's in his rearview mirrors for another. And you make little teeny mistakes.
The teeny mistakes, though, hasn't been just enough for the 47 Mustang to get by. The 17 car is now only about 3 car lengths behind. This is now a 3-car battle for that second spot out on the racetrack, not just 2.
Yeah, Firebird takes a wide stance going into turn 1. Doesn't want that Mustang sticking his nose in here, but nobody's going to pass in turn 1 anyway. Here's where the pass occurs. We got back traffic. We're getting up at the back markers here. Now, we saw earlier the crash on the outside of this corner. You've got to stay on the line. It's a 100-mile-an-hour 4th gear corner. Watch the cars drift through this corner. These guys are hanging on for all it's worth, but boy, it sure is a lot of fun. Mustang will look on the outside here, hoping to use that NSX as a pick, but he's got to get around the Firebird.
It looks as though the 31 car is really having a tough time trying to find his way around and at the same time drive a little bit of defense with one eye in the mirror.
That's a hard part of racing is when you're trying to work traffic yourself and trying not to let the guy behind you get in. Or like right here in turn 5, it's easy for the guy to tuck inside you and you're dead meat. So you've got to sort of protect your road a little bit. When you protect your road, you slow down. You got to be real careful getting the exit speed. This is a critical corner because it's such a long straightaway.
And now the horsepower begins to play one more time as we watch these cars come to the top of the straightaway. The Acura NSX falls off the pace just a little bit. It's a beautiful automobile, handles really well, but horsepower is not a forte of the black car in behind this group.
No, we all hooked up together with the draft, though. We still can run draft. Up above about 75, 80 miles an hour, the car in front begins to tow the cars behind. That's why you see a little bit of weaving here and there, or what we call a wide car on these straightaways.
That 17 Ford Mustang has definitely caught up to the battle now and begins to make a little bit of an impression, no doubt, in the 47 Ford Mustangs, Mears, as that number 31 Sunoco Firebird does finally pull off into pit lane, slows right down, nearly comes to a stop at the line there. 25 miles an hour is the pit lane speed limit. It's really slow here at Mosport.
You literally feel like you can take your belts off and get out and push the car to your pits. That's how bad it is.
Oh, and talking about pushing the car to the pits, almost the case. The 22, the Culver McMillan BMW, with what looks to be either a flat tire or at least a whole bunch of bodywork rubbing on it.
I think one caused the other. He's definitely cut a tire down. Oh, he's cut a tire down on the Firebird. Once again, turn 5, comes in there a little hot. No hope of a pass here. Just missed his brake point and popped the fire. Beautiful spin. Look at that. Perfect 360. You're going to become a spinner.
Hey, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it well. The Gold Powell Firebird does a complete 360 for the crowd in turn number 5 as the battle for second place continues. These are two teammates. You think there's any team orders between these two? Is somebody going to move over and let anybody go by, or is it just every man for himself?
Biggest team order is don't you dare crash each other. Do what you can to get first and second, but don't you touch each other or take each other off the track. Toward the end of the season, when you're running for points, when you're running for a championship, yeah, you help your buddy.
Gary Smith in the second place, number 47 car, and right behind him with the opposite paint scheme, the white on the nose and the purple on the tail, the Zippo number 17 car running in second with Jeff Lapsevich aboard, trying to pick their way through some of the cars which aren't really in the hunt for first place out here, but nonetheless are just as quick. The 11 Sunoco Firebird trying for all it's worth to try to stay up with these guys.
Yeah, because again, when you have left-hand turns, right-hand turns come in succession, it's hard to get around that traffic because he needs part of the racetrack too. Now they sort things out going down into turn 1, real high-speed exit here. This is a 4th gear corner, and they get in front of the Firebird. Now the two Mustangs can run traffic again.
And again, traffic begins to play a little bit of a part here as we watch the Hyundai lead the crowd down through turn number 2. The Tiburon should stay over on the right-hand side of the road, do you think, or is he going to let him go down the inside of 3?
He should pop left and let those guys inside. That way they have a good shot coming down to turn 4. Well, he lets one by, and now the 17 car gets a little bit sideways trying to catch him. So again, you try to be polite with the fast cars, but you have to give them room. But by the same token, you can't afford to slow yourself down because the guys in your class are catching you.
The race leader, while all this is going on a little bit further back, Scott Maxwell is out for a Sunday drive here at Mosport as the last lap sign comes out. The 0 car has one more lap to go. The headlights are still on, though. The last thing he wants to do is get collected by a back marker through turn number 2 for the final time at speed.
This red car's been a flawless run, but still 2.5 miles is 2.5 miles.
Scott Maxwell and Greg Wilkins going to be sharing the victory podium if he can just get it around a couple more corners. The battle for second, though, does continue. Gary Smith leads his teammate Jeff Lapsevich down through turn number 2. Still nose to tail, less than a car length separates those two at the bottom of the corner.
All bets are off. They know they can't touch each other, but they're still trying for that second place spot.
Jeff closes it up just a little bit into turn number 3 as we watch the race leader come to the top of the straightaway for the final time. Into turn number 8. The big sweeping right-hand corner. Now the slower turns 9 and 10 here at Mosport. The final turn looms. A right-hand turn, hard on the accelerator as he comes down the start-finish line for the final time. The checkered flag for Scott Maxwell. The 0 car wins. Scott Maxwell and Greg Wilkins, a flawless drive. Now the battle for second. Gary Smith is going to be able to just barely hold off Jeff Lapsevich. The battle for second goes to Gary Smith today. As far as some other battles, boy, a great one coming down the start-finish line, side by side, Dorian. This looks like a stock car race.
Oh, this is great. This is the last podium spot in the smallest class we have. These guys are fighting like it's a Daytona 500.
Going down to the checkered flag in every one of the classes. 4 classes, first, second, and third in each. And here's a donut from Scott Maxwell. Well,
that's a
half a donut. That's pretty appropriate, seeing that the car is sponsored by Tim Horton, a donut shop. Scott Maxwell pretty happy with a win here at Mosport today. We'll be back with the winners in just a moment. Welcome back to the winner's circle at Mosport. Here are our Motorola StarTac stars of the race. Scott Maxwell and Greg Wilkins. Scott Maxwell, with a victory here today, will move into the lead as far as the Drivers' Championship is concerned as well. Maxwell and Wilkins, the winners in Grand Sport and winners overall at Mosport today. Our other StarTac stars of the race in the sport class today.
John Barraza, Lance Stewart bring home the Team Hurricane Acura Integra for first place.
In the touring class, Philip Letourneau and Kuno Whitmer in the Desigi Autosport Honda Prelude.
And in compact, Ed Magner, Frank Delvecchio bring home the Oldsmobile.
Our Derringer Forward Motion winner, the number 47 Zippo Ford Mustang of John Kohler and Gary Smith, gained 14 positions today. They started 15th and finished the race in second place. A tremendous drive today for John Kohler and Gary Smith. Our final look at our STP leaderboard. Grand Sport winners overall today. The Zero car, Greg Wilkins and Scott Maxwell in the Mustang. Kohler and Smith in their 47 Mustang second.
John Barraza, Lance Stewart in sports over Tom Stewart and Andy Lawley.
As far as the touring class was concerned this afternoon, we had the Letourneau and Whitmer Honda Prelude just in front of Dick Starita and John Wymore's Mazda 626 Shanneman, and Shanneman in the MX-6 third.
And in compact, Ed Magner, Frank Delvecchio bring the Olds home first, while the Bill Fenton, Bob Beatty, Honda Del Sol come in second, and John Phillips, Mike Speck bring the Mazda Miata third.
Our next race is from the streets of Toronto. For Terry Irwood, I'm Jim Martin saying so long. The Motorola Cup has been brought to you by Motorola. Web without wires. By Castrol, track proven performance. And by Hoosier Tires, tires designed for champions.